Why do so many companies hire a chief revenue officer with the simple hope of growing revenue faster, only to watch the hire completely fail?
Oh, it's incredibly common.
Right. If you are a founder, a sales leader, or an executive staring down that high-stakes decision right now, you are likely looking at the role completely backward.
Yeah, totally backward.
So welcome to today's deep dive. We are unpacking a really comprehensive guide by Nathan Davis from the Sales Experts. Our mission today is to figure out what a CRO actually does, what founders should expect, and how to guarantee true sales success when hiring for this role.
Because honestly, treating a CRO like they're just a glorified VP of sales is, well, it's the absolute fastest way to burn your runway.
Okay, let's unpack this because the great CRO misconception is really where all this failure starts, right?
Yeah, it is the ultimate executive heartbreak. A board approves bringing in this heavy hitter, hands over an impressive title and compensation package, and then they just sit back waiting for the hockey stick growth curve.
And then what, 6 months later?
6 months later, the pipeline has totally stalled. Cross-functional friction is at an all-time high, and the company has basically just funded a very expensive lesson in organizational dysfunction.
Wow. And the source text points out that this is rarely about the candidate's actual confidence, right?
Right. It almost always stems from a fundamental misunderstanding of the role's architecture. A CRO is not just a senior head of sales. They aren't simply your top-performing enterprise rep who got handed a larger corner office as a reward. They are a structural, cross-functional leader.
So to really understand what a CRO should do, we first have to strip away that false assumption that their only job is to go fix the pipeline or the close rate in isolation.
Exactly. They aren't working in a vacuum.
It's like expecting a master conductor to just sit down and play the first chair violin louder.
Oh, I love that analogy. That's exactly it.
But I mean, if they aren't out there just closing the biggest deals themselves, what is their actual daily focus? Where do they live in the business?
What's fascinating here is that they live in the municipal control room overseeing the entire grid. The CRO actually sits in the white space across the full revenue engine.
The white space between departments.
Right. They're responsible for generating, converting, expanding, and retaining revenue. So they're asking questions like, are marketing and sales actually aligned? Or, where exactly is revenue leaking?
Are the growth systems scalable, or are we just relying on, founder heroics and isolated efforts?
Precisely. They are the ones answering those massive structural questions.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Because now that we know the CRO is the conductor of this revenue engine, what exactly are they supposed to deliver?
Yeah, the actual deliverables.
Right. It's all about the baton pass in a relay race. The CRO is watching to see exactly where the baton gets dropped between marketing, sales, and customer success.
That's a great visual. And the guide lays out 5 specific deliverables you can and should expect from a strong CRO. The first one is building a unified revenue strategy.
Meaning they actually get sales, marketing, and customer success working on the same exact goals.
Exactly. It's about aligning those underlying incentives so people aren't fighting over attribution. And that leads to the second deliverable, connecting the full customer journey.
So that's overseeing everything from the first moment of demand straight through to account expansion.
Right. And fixing those specific handovers you mentioned, like where the momentum dies when an SDR passes a lead to an account executive.
Got it. What's the third deliverable?
It's improving forecasting and revenue visibility. This is huge for executives. A CRO replaces subjective optimism, like a rep just having happy years, about a deal with objective, data-driven visibility into pipeline quality and timing.
Which is honestly the only way to sleep at night if you're a CEO.
Oh, absolutely. Which brings us to number 4, building scalable revenue systems. A CRO makes growth repeatable through process and discipline, so you aren't just relying on your star players improvising every day.
And the fifth one?
Creating cross-functional accountability. They clarify exactly who owns what, which is especially critical in scaling founder-led businesses where things get, well, pretty messy.
Yeah, roles get super blurry. So think about your own company right now. How much of your revenue generation is just relying on ad hoc execution rather than these scalable systems?
It's a scary question for a lot of leaders.
It really is. But, hearing all these massive cross-functional responsibilities, it sounds like some businesses might be biting off more than they can chew.
Oh, for sure.
So if you're a scaling startup struggling just to execute your core sales, is hiring a CRO overkill? Is it like buying a massive mansion when all you really need right now is just a solid, functional apartment?
This raises an important question, and it's actually one of the most common traps companies fall into. You have to understand the crucial distinction between a commercial director and a CRO.
Okay, break that down for us.
A commercial director is highly focused on execution strictly inside the sales function. They are looking at pricing, rep performance, commercial tactics, making sure that core sales engine is humming.
But they aren't touching marketing or customer success.
Exactly. A CRO, on the other hand, owns end-to-end responsibility. They add marketing performance, lead generation, customer success, retention, and expansion to their plate.
Wow, okay, so a lot of companies don't actually need a CRO yet.
Right. They just need a strong commercial director first to fix their baseline sales execution.
So what does this all mean? Understanding that you might hire the wrong title leads perfectly into the other major danger zone the guide highlights.
Which is hiring the right title, but handing them impossible expectations.
Right, handing them these superhuman expectations. Because the CRO cannot perform magic. Like if the market fundamentally rejects your product, a CRO can't magically manufacture demand out of thin air.
They absolutely cannot. And that's the first of 5 things you should never expect a CRO to fix. They cannot fix a weak offer by themselves. They amplify product market fit. They don't create it.
That makes total sense. What's the second thing they can't fix?
They cannot replace founder vision. The ambition and the strategic priorities, like where the company is going, must come from the top. The CRO just builds the operational road to get there.
You can't just hand them the keys and say, figure it out.
Exactly. Third, they cannot solve every departmental issue alone. They're there to align functions, but they need wider business support. If your marketing team is totally under-resourced, a CRO's progress is going to hit a brick wall.
Right, they need budget and support to actually upgrade those functions.
Yeah. And fourth, they cannot personally own every revenue lever forever. They can design the engine, but they can't be the one constantly jumping on every sales call and managing every churn dispute.
They are the architect, not the entire construction crew.
Exactly. And the fifth one, this is the hidden trapdoor, is assuming they can automatically succeed in every business stage. Context mismatch is a huge reason CROs fail.
Context mismatch. So, like taking a CRO from a massive enterprise and dropping them into a scrappy scale-up.
Precisely. In an enterprise, they have armies of analysts, huge budgets, and they are basically optimizing a machine that's already moving fast.
But in a Series A startup,
there's no machine. They have to build it from scratch in a garage, and if they don't know how to do that, they will completely fail, even if they are incredibly competent.
wow. Since we know that CRO failure is usually about that mismatch in context, how do executives actually evaluate and secure the right person for their specific stage?
It takes a highly structured evaluation.
Because it sounds like standard leadership interviews just don't cut it for this level.
Yeah.
Are we saying a standard resume review is basically worthless when evaluating a CRO's transferable skills?
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
A resume just tells you if they held the title. It doesn't tell you if they built the system or just inherited it. You have to remove the subjectivity.
How do you do that?
Well, the sales experts use specific frameworks for this. For example, the 5-stage sales team scaling system and the sales hunter intelligence evaluation.
Okay, so these frameworks actually stress test the candidates.
Exactly. The sales hunter intelligence evaluation tests if they actually understand the underlying mathematics of customer acquisition. It tests if their specific strengths match the company's current growth stage.
So it separates the people who genuinely understand the mechanics from the people who just rode a favorable wave at a big tech company.
Exactly. It ensures you are actually securing the top 1% of talent for your specific environment.
That is incredibly powerful. To wrap this up, if you get this right, if you successfully hire the right CRO for your context, it creates a business where revenue is less fragmented, less personality-driven, and far less dependent on constant founder intervention.
And that is exactly what real organizational maturity looks like.
So, for true sales success, your action item here is to define the role and the success profile before you ever commit to a search. Figure out if you need a commercial director or a CRO.
Measure twice, cut once.
Exactly. And to learn more about this structured approach to revenue leadership hiring, we definitely encourage you to visit thesalesexperts.com.
Highly recommend checking that out. And I want to leave everyone with one final thought based on Win Nathan Davis's material.
Yeah, let's hear it.
If your company's revenue engine was a physical machine right now, which part is currently smoking? Before you write a job description, ask yourself honestly, are you looking for a mechanic to fix that one broken part or an engineer to redesign the entire engine?